A mountain fell. One man survived? A massive landslide just buried an entire mountain camp, leaving absolutely no survivors expected. It sounds like the opening of a high-budget disaster movie, but the reality is far more terrifying. Millions of tons of earth, rock, and debris descended in mere seconds, obliterating everything in its path. There was no way to escape, and there was certainly no way to breathe. But against every known law of physics, one person was found alive. How is that even possible? Think about the sheer, terrifying physics of a landslide this massive. We are talking about millions of tons of geological mass moving at lethal, unstoppable speeds. When that much earth settles, the pressure is absolute. It doesn't just cover things, it crushes them. The density of the debris should have instantly collapsed any available air pockets, effectively turning the camp into a solid, unbreathable tomb. There is no space for a human body to exist, let alone for oxygen to circulate. Biology and physics both dictate that the structural integrity of any hollow space would be annihilated instantly by the weight. To survive this, you would need to be more than just lucky. You would need to defy the very nature of gravity and mass itself. This isn't just an urban legend or a tall tale. The catastrophe was captured in real time by modern technology. High-resolution satellite imagery from international geological agencies documented the exact moment the slope failed. Seismic sensors located across the region recorded the massive, earth-shaking impact of the debris field. Rescue teams, working alongside structural engineers, confirmed the total destruction of the camp's infrastructure. Even the most skeptical investigators had to face the hard data. The ground had moved, the camp was gone, and the density of the debris was verified by ground-penetrating radar. Every piece of scientific evidence pointed to a total loss of life. Every sensor indicated there was nothing left to save. Until the first signal was detected. On that fateful day, the camp was a routine operation, a remote outpost tucked into the mountain's edge. Then the earth simply gave way. In a matter of seconds, the landscape transformed into a roaring wave of mud and stone. The impact was instantaneous. For hours, there was only silence and the settling of dust. Rescue crews arrived to find a landscape that looked entirely different from the maps they held. They began the grim task of searching the wreckage, expecting to find only tragedy. But deep within the heart of the debris, amidst the crushing weight of the mountain, a single, rhythmic pulse of motion was detected. Someone was still moving. A survivor was buried under the mountain. So, how did he survive the unsurvivable? The answer lies in a freak geological occurrence. As the landslide surged, it interacted with a specific ancient rock formation, a narrow, dense vein of quartz that didn't move with the rest of the slope. This rigid structure created a singular, microscopic void. For a few precious minutes, this tiny gap acted as a pressurized chamber, shielding a small pocket of air from the crushing weight above. It was a perfect accidental vacuum. The gap was so small it was nearly invisible to the naked eye, yet it provided just enough oxygen and structural stability to prevent the weight from collapsing the space entirely. It was a miracle of physics. This event has fundamentally shifted how we view disaster survival. It proves that even in the most catastrophic environments, microenvironments can exist, pockets of stability in the midst of chaos. For search and rescue teams, this discovery is revolutionary. It means that instead of just looking for large cavities, we must learn to scan for these tiny, high-pressure voids. Understanding the science of how these gaps form could be the difference between life and death in future landslides, avalanches, or building collapses. It reminds us that nature is capable of creating impossible windows of survival, even when we think all hope is lost. The world is far more complex than our models suggest. One tiny gap turned a tragedy into a miracle. If this story of survival left you stunned, there are many more where that came from. Please subscribe to Barely Believable to join us on our next journey into the impossible. If you want more videos like this, subscribe and follow Barely Believable. See you in the next one.